Hello everyone. This is going to be a video going over, not in a lot of detail, the difference between child's pose, puppy pose, a pose called anahata pose or heart melting pose, and downward facing dog. So there is a difference between all of these poses, and sometimes I see people that are kind of doing little hybrid poses, and I think it might be because they don't understand the difference between the poses. So I'm going to go through each of them and do just a brief explanation of kind of the focal points of the pose and what might restrict you in the pose. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail in all of them, though. So the first one is child's pose, which is usually entered from an all fours position. And tops of the feet are usually flat, and then you're pressing the buttocks back towards the heels, and you're just relaxing the spine here, resting the head. The arms can stay straight or bend or wrap back. And this is meant to be a very comfortable resting pose. And what I want to show you is that there are plenty of people in the world who aren't built like I am and can't get back real far. So for some people, child's pose ends up looking kind of like this. They just can't get the buttocks back towards the heels, which is fine. You want to stay out of any pain in the knees or tops of the feet. Some people like wider knees or medium width knees. So that's just a very quick explanation of child's pose. And then the next one I'm going to go over is puppy pose. So puppy pose starts from all fours. I tend to do toes tucked under for puppy pose. And as you can see, I'm starting with my thighs are vertical here. And I got a nice neutral spine. So I'm not sagging my spine down and I'm not curling it towards the ceiling. So you start with these vertical thighs, toes tucked if you can. And then from here, without moving my hips backwards, I step my hands forward. So I call puppy pose, it's similar to downward dog but kneeling. And then once I get my hands forward, I draw my head just kind of between my arms. And again, in puppy pose, you want to keep a long spine. So it's not a curling of the back and contracting the belly and cat tilting the spine. It's also not a cow tilting of the spine. So you got to find that sweet spot in your puppy pose. And in puppy pose, for almost everyone, the head is up off the floor, floating in between the arms. So that's puppy pose. And then the next one is anahata pose, which is not a pose that I recommend everybody do, or everybody's not built for this one, but just for comparison purposes, from puppy pose, anahata is a relaxing of the belly and a melting of the chest towards the floor. And you could do it with the forehead on the floor instead of the chin, but this is the idea of anahata. See, it's a very different pose. I let my spine kind of go into a cow tilt here and melted through the heart. And then from here, I'll go to downward dog. So I'll move my hands back a little bit. My toes are still tucked. So down dog is basically start with your vertical thighs, hands a little forward to the shoulders, give or take, and then you press through the knees. Get the spine long first when you enter down dog, and then the legs may or may not go straight. So I'll just go over a couple details about down dog. If you straighten your legs too much, what tends to happen for a lot of people is the back curls and the pelvis tucks. So if that happens to you, keep a little bend in the knees and find that neutral spine. So in down dog, spine is long. You don't want to be rounding it or sagging it down. And then I'm going to come back to my knees. And I'll just go through each of those one more time. So remember, child's pose is usually tops of the feet flat, buttocks push way back. It's very relaxed and passive. I tend to encourage people to support their head. And then puppy pose is toes tucked, vertical thighs, neutral spine, arms forward. So again, it feels very similar to down dog in the upper body. It's just that your knees are on the floor. Head between the arms, core is strong, spine is neutral. And then anahata pose, which again is not one that I recommend that everybody try, but just for comparison purposes, anahata pose is a melting of the front of the body towards the mat. Most people can't do that. And then last one is down dog. So if I come out of anahata, I need to move my hands back for my body anyway to press through the toes, float the knees, lengthen the spine, press the head between the arms or thereabouts, and then the legs start to straighten, and I need to pay attention to what happens with my pelvis. So bent knees is better than a curved spine here in down dog. Okay, so my intention was just to do a quick explanation of the difference between those 4 poses. Because a lot of times in class, I'll give options. I'll say, go to child's pose or puppy pose or downward facing dog. And I just wanted to make sure people understood what the difference between those 3 poses are. They are 3 very different poses, and they're all good. They all have different benefits. Okay, I hope you found that helpful.